Hello, welcome back to the NBA Daily. Did you miss us? The Jaren Jackson Trade Emergency Podcast Edition. I'm Dave DuFour here with Andrew Schlecht and our good friend, host of the Grits and Grinds podcast, the Memphis Grizzlies podcast, Mr. Keith Parrish. Keith, sad day for you around your parts?
I feel sad, yes. I am not the... we're all processing the trade.
Yeah.
The high five, we tore down a good team to get picks. You're never going to get the high five return for me.
Yeah.
So I'm saying, what exactly is the plan? Jaren's extension hasn't even kicked in yet, that it seemed like they've been jumping through hoops to sign him to, but I guess we can get more into that in a second. No, I'm in a state of mild shock.
Yeah, but I like that you came in hot. Let's talk about the trade. Okay, so Jaren Jackson Jr. going to the Utah Jazz along with John Conchar, Jock Landale, and Vince Williams Jr. Memphis is going to get 3 future first-round picks, Walter Clayton Jr., Kyle Anderson, Taylor Hendricks, and Georges Niang. The reunion of Kyle Anderson and the Memphis Grizzlies is really the big story here. Baraheni just joined us. What were those picks that Utah is sending out?
Yeah, so Utah is sending out the most favorable of their 2027 pick between Cleveland, Minnesota, and Utah, which, spoiler alert, will be the Utah Jazz, probably, most likely there. Then the Lakers 2027 first-round pick, and the Phoenix Suns 2031 first-round pick. And based on what the reports are, it seems like that's unprotected. So an unprotected 2031 Suns pick as well. Those are the 3.
Before we go back to the Grizzlies side of this and blowing up a good team, Keith, let's talk about the Utah Jazz. They got the best player in the deal. Jaren Jackson Jr., Lauri Markkanen, Keontae George seems like their young core of the future. That's pretty good. What a turnaround for Danny Ainge.
Yeah, I really like that. And on top of that, I'm curious to see what they end up doing to finish out this year. Like if they tank, obviously they probably should, because as Grape Ape just said, the Utah Jazz have a top 8 predicted pick that might go to OKC if it's outside of the top 8. So I'm curious to see how much tanking and perhaps creative resting is what we should call it when it comes to load managing some of these guys towards the end of the year. Lauri Markkanen load managing a knee or an ankle a lot over the next 30 games, whatever you want to call it. I think that's going to happen because I think Utah will try to tank as much as possible to get one more guy to add to this core. Now you might say Ace Bailey is that guy or someone else, but it would be a huge win if they could add one of the top picks here for the Jazz. So, yeah.
Well, one of the dangers of recording during trade deadline week, does this mean could they double dip the Jazz? Are we sure Lauri Markkanen is part of their future? I mean, so they have the Walker Kessler free agency decision, but like, what if the Pistons have been offering a monumental offer for Lauri Markkanen, and they're saying, all right, we got Jaren, let's trade Lauri. We'll restock the cupboard again. So I don't know. But if it is a future where it's Lauri and Jaren, that's an interesting front line. It doesn't, if you size up Lauri for the 3, I don't know. It doesn't feel like your normal, perfect starting 4-5, especially with Ace Bailey and Keontae George. It's not really the sturdiest front line as far as protecting the rim. I know Jaren's a shot blocker, but actually grabbing defensive rebounds and things. It's interesting. But we still have to wonder, what are the next steps for the Jazz and what's their vision?
Yeah, this doesn't feel like hey, here's the finishing touches on our roster kind of thing. This seems like, hey, we can get Jaren Jackson for basically no premium players on our roster and 3 firsts. Yes. The Jazz, listen, I know they've had some success stories through the draft, but not enough.
Yeah.
Throughout this rebuild for it to justify continuing to tank. And so they had to find a way to pull themselves out of this, and bringing Jaren in, I think, helps with that. But yeah, it's not perfect. We have seen Markkanen play the 3 before. So you can play these giant lineups, and that's becoming a thing in the NBA again, is playing big. Maybe the Jazz are wanting to do that and be a little bit unconventional as they do so. But yeah, to me, it feels like hey, let's just do a talent grab here and we'll see what happens. I am really curious to see if they'll rest Triple J the rest of the season, though.
I mean, they're 8 games out of the play-in, so I don't think that's realistic. So they definitely are going to have a resting plan.
Yeah, I mean, they'll have to, because they really just don't want to give this pick to the Thunder.
I was going to say it would be mismanagement if they did that.
If the Wizards are able to pull Trae Young for the season, and I can't believe I'm sitting here trying to justify this for an NBA team to not play their players. Yeah. But if the Wizards are able to pull this off, I can't imagine, we can't get a Lowry marketing ski injury. Although I know the snow has been bad in Utah this year, but they could come up with something.
This tank race is going to get nasty.
Right?
The tank race is going to get intense. I mean, look at the Grizzlies.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are 5 games. How do we say it? Ahead of the Jazz.
In the reverse standings is what
in the reverse standings, the Jazz are 5 games ahead, and the Grizzlies have already announced their tank intentions. And I'm saying before this move, they'd announced their tank intentions, and now this move, we're gonna see, baby. You want Taylor Hendricks minutes? Have people been clamoring for Taylor Hendricks minutes?
I mean, listen, I've been wanting to see those since he got drafted. So yeah,
this is why it's kind of weird though, because both of these teams have a similar objective this year. I think even without the Jaren Jackson Jr. trade, Keith, I'm curious what your thoughts are, but it felt like the Grizzlies were angling towards a tank, right?
Yeah. Oh, they'd been veering. I don't think angling.
Okay, so the veer was in, but
here's I don't think these are just matching salaries. I think they looked at the end of their bench and they're like, Vince Williams Jr. and John Conchar play too hard. If we give those guys 25, 30 minutes, they're going to go too hard. We if we're going to lose some games, we got to bring in some fresh blood. Those guys try too hard.
I mean, that's what the Wizards did with CJ McCollum. CJ McCollum was too good for the Wizards, and they had to get him out of there. Okay, now let's swing it to Memphis. I mean, the tank is in. As someone just pointed out, you get 4 first-round picks for Bane, and now 3 more for Jaren Jackson. They still have Ja on the roster, which I mean, I guess at this point, you can just move Ja. I mean, if you get can you get a first for Ja? Is that enough?
The commenter being like, the GM needs an award.
Oh, well.
You traded traded good picks. You traded good players for 7 first-round picks. What's the objective? What's the objective of the league? Isn't it to try to win basketball games? If any GM wants 70, do you know how many first-round picks the Thunder could get if they traded away their good players? They could get 20 first-round picks, maybe.
Let me spin this for you real quick, Keith. I'll spin it for you as you are just struggling watching a team go into the tank. This might be the most competitive thing that the Grizzlies can do at this point, because I don't think they were going anywhere with this current roster. I think they were at best stuck in the middle, which is the worst place to be.
Yeah.
So if you're at the top, awesome. Stay there as long as you can. If you're at the bottom, you want to try to get out of the bottom as quickly as possible. But most teams, the league is designed to pull teams to the middle. Yeah. That's the way that the league is designed. And you have to, the smart teams, sometimes the dumb teams end up at the bottom just because they're terrible. But mostly, smart teams either are at the top or they are trying to get to the bottom from the middle.
Yeah.
Because it is really hard to build a team from the middle to the top. It's really
What if you're a team, just theoretically, hypothetically?
I can't wait to hear this, by the way.
What if you're a team near the top?
Yeah.
And you may...
We're near the top.
What if you're a team that finished second in your conference in consecutive years? What if you're a team that had multiple, all your own first round picks and 3 extra, and you had cap space and you had a young core of all-stars?
Mm-hmm.
And what if you backed your way into you started veering into the middle, and then you're like, what if instead of trying to get back to the top, we just started over? We just completely started over. I mean, listen, maybe there's a situation where one of your best players had some off the court stuff and the situation, relationship frayed, and you had to make some choices. And you said, well, we'd like to trade this one, but no one wants this one. What if we get rid of all of our good players who are in the prime of their careers
Mm-hmm.
and we'll stack up a bunch of first-round picks.
Well, Keith,
Let's
actually,
see what happens.
I think that's an important note to make because you are only as good as your superstars are. And so because Ja Morant didn't keep ascending, because it wasn't this, it was, if anything, it was a downward spiral for Ja. Because that happened, the build didn't make as much sense anymore. You can look at some other teams that have obviously turned around and made. Obviously, OKC is a great example with SGA becoming an MVP candidate. Like, they don't get to where they are if he doesn't go from very good starter to all-star to MVP. Like, that ascension was.
But they're not as great last year if Jalen Williams isn't as good. And if
Absolutely.
Jalen Williams is what we've seen so far this year, right? That little bit of a drop-off makes a huge drop-off for your team. Not to say that the Thunder aren't.
I mean, they're the number one team in the
right.
NBA.
Still the best team in the West. That's not what I mean. It's just they don't feel as overwhelming. And with the Grizzlies, the whole thing was built around Ja being able to get 2 feet in the paint every single time he had the basketball, and all that offensive stuff worked around it, and it covered up any of the, the defensive issues that he had because the offense was so great when he was out there. And just we didn't get the chance to even see the entire build come to fruition because we never really got to see Zach Edey and Ja Morant operate together.
Well, so you could also say, like, even if you're not totally confident in Ja Morant, they'd already tanked out. They'd gotten a Zach Edey. You'd say that was a blessing in disguise. We got in disguise. We got a gap year, picked up a Zach Edey.
Also
even
in
picking
disguise,
up, yeah. Also in this size, yes. Then even this year, if you said like they're going to finish with the top 10 pick, I'm just saying it's hard for me to get thrilled when you look at the good teams in the NBA, and there's very few that came from a teardown. That came from a total, absolute teardown. You have like the Thunder success, and Andrew, correct anything I get incorrect.
Mm-hmm.
The Thunder success was largely Paul George trade return.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so they did the targeted tank a couple years where they're like, no, Shea, stop playing. This is too good. And it worked out to some degree, but also like a lot of their good players, there's a chance they got where they were even without this. Maybe they had to get Holmgren with the second pick. Like, I have a hard time seeing other teams where they did the total teardown and you got back to where you actually were. I know the Grizzlies got dealt this weird hand with Ja Morant plateauing or maybe getting worse, but I'm still confused where you still had so many other things going for you on the roster. Like you still had, like, they signed, like, Desmond Bane's the best draft pick in the franchise's history. It's an unbelievable trade, unbelievable draft pick. And they said, I think our analysis of that trade for the Magic was, all right, well, if this team's limited, Zach Kleiman, after the Thunder series getting swept, said this team isn't close to the Thunder. And everyone's like, oh, great, that's fine. But that team wasn't close because, in my analysis, they'd been short-circuiting themselves for 2 years because they kept pointing towards the future, saying, we have to pay Jaren, we have to pay Desmond, we have to pay Ja. We can't bring in any extra salary.
Right.
We can't bring in even, yes, we can match salary to bring somebody in, but then eventually we'll have to pay them. In 2027, we'll have to pay them. They didn't use their mid-level exception for multiple years. They traded away good players for draft picks, thinking, maybe if Jake LaRavia and David Roddy turns out, we'll have cheap replacements. They salaried up Marcus Smart a year ago, basically today. They used a first-round pick to salary up Marcus Smart, not to get better, to get further away from the luxury tax, so eventually in the offseason, they could give Jaren a renegotiation and extension. They short-circuited the last few years of Ja, Jaren, and Desmond. If you give them the benefit of absolute brilliant foresight, clairvoyance, you say, well, they knew Ja wasn't going to work years ago, so they did all those things. But from my perspective, they didn't even build up the team as good as it could have been because they were worried about paying people in 2027. We're not even in 2027 yet. And they've traded everybody away, and now we're starting over.
Yeah. So can we license the Ether beat to drop under that for the audio version?
That was great. That was great. Can I also just add real quick? This was something that was added to this whole thing. The Grizzlies have, to your point about spinning the wheels, Keith, they have added a massive $28.8 million trade exception because of this deal. So Jakob Poeltl is now going. No, he's not. I'm not recording. but that's seems like a landing spot.
Listen, I think the Grizzlies took a really hard look in the mirror and said, look, the teams at the top of the West, we're talking Minnesota, Houston, Denver, San Antonio, OKC. Are any of those teams going anywhere anytime soon? And
probably not.
Can the Grizzlies be better than any of those teams?
Okay, but you don't get Ace
is that
Bailey.
the standard?
Do you know what I mean? Like this is back to Keith's point. The Thunder make the Paul George trade. They get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, right? Like players actually win. Draft picks don't. Who was the last number one pick to win for the team that drafted him?
If that's BS, man.
Tim Duncan is the last guy to win a title by the team that drafted him, except for LeBron, but he left and came back.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, draft picks certainly set you up, but like you need to have good players, period. And they don't have,
but they don't want to. They're trying to bottom out. Like
so what? Even with bottoming out, who are teams right now? This is something I used to make fun of the Jazz for years.
Yeah.
Who are they trying to out? Are they trying to wait out Victor Wembanyama? Like, are they trying to wait out the Thunder?
Yeah. What is the point of that? Yeah,
what's the point? Are we going to wait out this next year's draft class?
It's not about waiting. I don't think
it's about jumping into this year's draft class.
I think it's about trying to get high level talent. Like
Steph Curry, by the way, Dave. Steph Curry is a good one. Won a championship with this team.
Oh, well, okay. But I said number one pick.
Okay.
Yeah, number one pick. Yeah, but I'm saying we don't know where the best players come from in the draft. I get you feel like there's a hump being in the middle that you can't get over. Being in the middle is a bad place to be. But I think we live in a real world where people attend basketball games and people watch basketball games and people have businesses associated with basketball games.
Yeah.
And it's just like you live in a real world. Building a team that you feel like is a favorite is nearly impossible. Like what's the Thunder's gambling odds right now? It's like they're barely a favorite. Like winning a title is impossible. Winning a title where you're like one of the three teams people think is going to be a favorite, that's nearly impossible for everybody unless you get super lucky. And I know this is all about going back to, well, we hope to get super lucky in the draft, but there's so like Dave is saying, there's so many avenues. You don't know where these players are going to come from. You get Jokic in the second round. You get Giannis late in the first round. You get Shai in a trade. No, but I'm saying, but you can still win games and go to the playoffs and end up with these players. Yeah. Like there's no proven path that like is shut down. So I don't know.
I'll just say this also.
Yeah.
Like I think Keith, you can acknowledge this. The Grizzlies have been very good at drafting.
Yeah.
Like they have been very. So if there is one team that can take advantage of having 1 million first-round picks, I think OKC and Memphis are the two teams that have the best.
When are these picks happening that they just got?
There's a couple that are.
Do we
in the
think
next
that
year.
this front office is going to be making these picks?
Yes, because they just bought themselves 4 years.
Yeah, they gave
themselves
an extra window.
Every time, every review of this trade is going to be complimentary for the Grizzlies. ESPN's going to pat them on the back. The Athletic, whoever's in charge of the write-up, is going to say, this was a great job looking in the mirror. They're going to say, trading good players for picks, you always win the trade when you're trying to lose. Teams that are trying, go back and look at every trade grade ever.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, man, they got that for who? Bradley Beal brought that much back. And it's just like, every time you get picks in a trade, you almost always win the trade. So I'm saying this buys front offices. There's no accountability because the goal is not to win. The goal is to say, oh, we're trying to win. They said, Zach Kleiman said verbatim, we're trying to build a sustainable contender. And he took a contender. And now what is it?
Made it unsustainable.
And now
Andrew, you're doing air quotes. In 2022, they took the Warriors to 6 games in the second round. The Warriors said the Grizzlies were the best team they played that year. Yeah. Warriors won the title. We can argue semantics over contender. If you're one of the 6-7 best teams in the NBA, I think the way the NBA works now, especially with injuries and everything, like you have a shot. If you're not going to win playoff games,
what would you have wanted from this core? And do you think that if you kept it together, that they could have reached those goals?
I do not think this team could have won a title with Ja Morant as a best player. Period.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a shock. That's everyone feels that. Even Ja Morant defenders are thinking that.
That's just logic.
Like that ship sailed. Yeah. I think the hand the Grizzlies were dealt was we could probably be a perennial playoff team with Jaren and Desmond and whatever's left of Ja Morant, and eventually people will say, hey, you know what? It's fine if Ja moves on. And I understand them not wanting to do that. My maybe minority view as a basketball fan is that was the hand I was dealt, and I'm fine with it. I will take that over wandering in the wilderness, praising like draft prospects, like the picks they got, 2027, 2031. Like, all right, are we paying Zach Edey and Cedric Coward max contracts then? Are we able to add a third player alongside the 2031?
You got to tear it down again.
You got to tear it down again. If you don't, winning playoff series is so hard. I can count on one hand the number of playoff series the Grizzlies have won in the 25 years they've been in Memphis. I don't take it for granted that you have a good team. And now you're telling me, hey guys, we're not going to win for a very long time.
I don't think it has to be a very long time, because I do think they're starting from a position that the Jazz weren't, and that they have Cedric Coward. And they have Jalen, like they have players.
I think name them, because seriously, Cedric Coward looks awesome. Might be an all-star. Zach Edey looks really good in the 11 games he played this year.
Yeah, I hear that.
Is Zach Edey going to be an all-star? Is Zach Edey going to be an above-average center in the NBA? That's a mystery. We don't know the answer to that question yet.
Even if Cedric Coward is the only one, I think that's okay. I think that's okay.
You know what sounds better to me than just like Cedric Coward? Cedric Coward plus Jaren Jackson Jr. That sounds pretty good. We got Stu going now.
Disagree.
I'm at the point where and I think Keith is echoing this too. I'm just surprised they didn't get more for Jaren Jackson Jr. Where is the Jaren Jackson Jr. bidding war? Because
this is the second time.
Fine, but
nobody knew that Desmond Bane was available. We all kind of suspected that Jaren, and to your point, like, did Memphis do themselves a disservice by not just shopping him?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's better deals out there than what they got.
Maybe they did shop him, but
I don't think it was a secret. Once the Ja news comes out, their phone's blowing up for Jaren. I also even though Jaren got his money, the question was always, is Memphis where Jaren wants to be? And so maybe that's an aspect of it where Jaren's which is another weird thing. Well, like Jaren getting the extension and then being like, but honestly, I'd rather be somewhere else. So maybe that could be a part of it too. Like we're not going to know exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
And Salt Lake being the place where he wants to be, right?
Listen, he wore that parka at the All-Star game, Salt Lake City. He looked great. Whatever he was wearing there, he's going to bring out his parkas.
Did look good. I like Salt Lake, but it is a funny move because you could, and you look at the reverse standings. These teams are not far off from
they're battling each other
right now.
They're going to be trying to lose together. Yeah.
Yeah, it is going to be. I mean, that tank race is going to be nasty.
Pretty crazy.
It's going to get bad because I do think when you look at it right now, like Memphis is going to try to leap Utah for sure. They're going to try to. Is Dallas? Maybe Dallas can't just because they have too many.
We've got another trade, folks.
What?
Chicago, Minnesota, and Detroit have agreed to a multi-team deal that sends Jaden Ivey and Mike Conley to the Bulls. Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric to the Pistons. Detroit also receives a 2026 first-round pick swap from Minnesota.
Wait a second. What did the Wolves?
Shams is terrible at these, unfortunately, right, with the description. So I can't. I don't know what.
Pistons are sending Ivy to the Bulls. Kevin Huerter and Dario Saric, they are swapping first with Minnesota. So Minnesota and Detroit are swapping first.
This is just a money dump for Minnesota.
It seems like it's a money dump for Minnesota.
It's a precursor deal.
It is a precursor deal.
Precursor to Giannis.
Just trying to get more value. I mean, like this could be them trying to get enough for
Giannis,
where they're like saying like, hey, man, like Milwaukee's probably saying, hey, we need more quality first if you want him. And okay.
Yeah, I mean, Giannis is a part owner of Nashville's soccer team.
Oh,
He has a connection to Tennessee. The Grizzlies now have, what are we talking? Is this eight extra first round picks? I mean, the Grizzlies Giannis package could be enormous.
it'd be so funny.
But the thing is,
We have
Keith,
this
when
big
they
argument about tanking, and then it's like they get Giannis.
It's like Ja Morant and 7 first round picks for Giannis Antetokounmpo.
That would be
This is
amazing.
the funny thing. So the Grizz, if they trade for Giannis, right, in 2 years, it'll be like, well, they have to trade Giannis.
They got to trade Giannis. They're
Gotta
not
blow it
good.
up.
They're a mid team. They can't do anything. 4 or
Okay.
5 seed.
Can I just say, I don't mind Kevin Herter for the Pistons.
Yeah. No, I like it.
They need players like that.
Yeah, they
Certainly.
need a guy like that that can shoot a little bit.
Also, I like Ivy to the Bulls. If they're trading Kobe
Sure.
White, Ivy
Yeah,
to the
sure.
Bulls makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. This seems like maybe Kobe White's done as well. Man, it's a. I mean, trading Jaden Ivey, who was a top 5 pick, for Kevin Herter is that's low value.
I just want to say for the teams that didn't get the memo, don't forget we're streaming all day Thursday, the trade deadline-a-thon. So just
Come on, guys, can we
put a stop to these trades?
Wow, that's really
We almost have to go all day today.
so. Did Minnesota didn't get a player?
No, Minnesota just did a pick swap.
They basically just swapped their picks. So Detroit's pick will be 29th this year because, and Minnesota's will be somewhere between 18 to 22. So they just moved up 10 spots in the draft. That's what it really was.
Well, that would make sense. That would be a pick that if
To get off some money.
if I'm Milwaukee, I would want a pick.
And yes, they dumped Mike Conley's $10 million expiring salary. Although that could have been nice to use in whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Well, guys, should we call this a show?
We can. That is man, I'm still trying to wrap my head around.
I mean,
all this.
I will say, I mean, it's kind of fitting that we had Keith on the stream for the Mike Conley trade also. Keith,
Yeah.
would you
Gotta
welcome a
Anderson,
reunion?
Mike Conley.
I mean, the Grizzlies getting Kyle Anderson back, one of my favorite Grizzlies players. Bring back Mike Conley. Obviously, can finish his career with the franchise where it all started. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, Mike Conley obviously doesn't have a role on the Bulls, so I mean,
No.
let's get a buyout.
like-
Let's get a buyout, Mike Conley somewhere. Just come home, man.
Bring him home.
Coach up
all right,
Walter Clayton Jr.
looking forward to what the Grizzlies do. I like Ty Jerome out there showing off before the trade deadline, right? Feel
Hey,
like somebody's gonna take the
Tony
take a
did
flyer.
say that the Jazz want to keep Kessler and that they envision a Triple J, Lowry, and Kessler front court.
I like that. Can I just say
Big.
I really like that? And because Keontae George, genuinely, for all of his incredible abilities offensively, one of the most improved players this year. Keontae George is also one of the worst defenders in the NBA at his position. So that much size behind Keontae, I think you can do some things interesting defensively that might work for you. Plus Ace Bailey, like Ace now plays the 2 and he's a big 2. And anyways, I like it for the Jazz. Sorry, Keith, but I like it for the
It's
Jazz.
a really big team. All right, guys, let us know in the comments what you think about the Jazz trade for Jaren Jackson. We'll be back if there's another trade and it's big. We'll do another emergency pod, but otherwise we'll be back tomorrow morning. Thank you guys for listening. For Keith Parrish, S. Baraheni, and Andrew Schlecht, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for hanging out.